Welcome to Good Morning Hospitality, your one-stop shop for the latest news, noteworthy trends, and thought-provoking discussions across the industry. From hotels and short-term rentals to all things travel and hospitality, you'll find each episode equips you with the information that you need to start your week. Join us on Good Morning Hospitality every Monday, wherever you get your podcasts.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. There we go. I was going to let somebody else have it today.
We are passing it around.
Yeah, Brandy usually always beats me. It's classic morning, and she's always on top of it.
I know. I thought I'd let
2 hours ahead of you. It's cheating.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was going to let her have it since she's already up and at 'em and energized before I am, being on the East Coast. But it is what it is. Happy Monday. Good to see you guys. How we doing?
Good. Just plugging away over here. It is actual soup. If anyone else is in, well, Michael, you know this.
Yeah.
If you're in the South, but like specifically if you're in South Florida, it is like 100 degrees and like 99.9% humidity. So
hottest week of the year coming up. Yeah, we have to look forward to.
It's funny because I see all my friends like in other parts of the country like doing fun summer things outside, and I'm like, I want to stay inside where the AC is.
Yeah,
you're like, how do I? Yeah, yep. Pool, mountains for me because it's cooler. But unlike you, Brandy, you don't have an escape from the soup. So, yeah, I would find any escape you could. Inside AC would be clutch. Would be clutch. Michael, how about you? You and the boys do anything fun? Come on, give us something good. How was your trip to the hotel?
I got stuff for you. Yeah. Went to the hotel last week. It was great. We're up on a mountain, which was probably 10 degrees cooler than down in the valley. It was like 65 degrees walking up the mountain in the morning. So fantastic. What a reprieve. And then Saturday, we did a much belated birthday party for Oliver. So that was fun. And then yesterday was my birthday. So had a good day. Had a good relaxed week.
Belated birthday, brother. Sorry that we didn't send you any text messages. My calendar must have not gone off. Weird.
All right.
What did the boys do for you? Did they make you any fun cards or food?
We had cards, got coffee in bed, blueberry pancakes.
Ooh.
And then Daddy cooked some fillets last night. So
let's go.
Had some One Hope wine. Shout out Brandon Hall. Will, you know about that?
Oh yeah. Brandon's got some good wine. For sure. Lovely. Well, happy belated birthday. Glad you had a good time.
Not the same old, Will.
I know, finally. Gosh. Yes. For all the GMH listeners out there, we finally got an update from Michael Golden. Outside of same old. No, it's super cool. Happy birthday. And of course, Paul Manzi saying happy birthday to you. And then we got our good old friend, Steve Turkey Turk, who's saying that Brandy's got a free sauna and steam room going on in Miami. So
yes, that's the glass half full version of this.
Shirts don't wrinkle down there.
100%.
No.
Will, what about you?
Good.
You get in the mountains again?
No, actually, I just did a chill weekend at home. I had a lot of like resetting of the house, basically, because I got a lot of camping gear and hiking gear and training gear all over the place. So I'm trying to get more organized. And yeah, so just basically did that, chilled, and getting ready to go to Copper this week to enjoy some little staycation with a friend and family. So yeah, it's going to be good. Going to be a good week. But we have some fun topics today, all about Airbnb. Yeah, and Paul Manzi says it only took a couple of years to get away from the same old with Michael Golden. But
he did it.
Loyal listener.
Paul would know it's taken a couple of years because he's been listening for a couple of years. So I love it. No, very good stuff. But we have a couple exciting articles covering Airbnb today. But before we do, if you are a listener of the show and have heard us talk about going to Guestival this September, which is in Mexico City, then you will not be surprised to hear that they are a segment sponsor of this podcast, which we have our new segment on the show called Waking Up with Guesty, brought to you by our friend named Keegan at Guesty. We're really excited to have this new morning segment every Monday. And so without further ado, Keegan, take it away.
Thanks, you guys, and welcome to Waking Up with Guesty. I'm Keegan Cotton, the Director of Technical Program Management here at Guesty, and I'm here with my first tidbit for you, the top 5 reasons for why I think you should go to Guestival 2025. Number 1, it's hosted in Mexico City, one of the top 10 cities in the world for food, super easy to Uber around, and if you don't speak Spanish or solo un poco, you can get around because it's a very big touristy city, so there's a lot of folks that speak both English and Spanish. Number 2, not only will we have key players from the different major OTAs that Guesty connects with, but we'll also have a number of vendors who started themselves as property managers and actually built some really impressive tools out on top of the Guesty platform to absolutely maximize their performance. Number 3, this is a big one, networking with every type of host that comes to Guestival. This isn't a stuffy conference where you get put into conference rooms and just watch from the crowd and don't talk to anyone around you. This is a networking first conference. You can meet hosts that are just getting started, that went from having a handful of properties to really managing full time, even folks who've grown so large that they bring in a full team to manage on their behalf. We'll actually be facilitating roundtable discussions at the conference where you can sit across from your fellow property managers and actively discuss some of the harder hitting issues that are facing the industry today. Number 4, we'll actually have the largest PMC in the US, Casa Ghost, speaking at the conference, so always good to see how it's being done. And number 5, I will actually be at Guestival myself with members of the TPM team, ready to sit down with customers to go through their Guesty configuration one-on-one and make tailored recommendations for how we think you can perform best in your geo with your inventory. If you've already purchased your ticket to Guestival, we'll be reaching out a little bit closer to the event to get those meetings scheduled. And if you haven't bought your ticket to Guestival yet, after these 5 reasons, what are you waiting for? Jokes aside, we'd love to see you in Mexico City, but for now, back to the podcast. Over to you.
All right, Keegan, thanks for that. And yes, we're very excited for Mexico City as we are getting ready to have some fun in the sun. So shout out to
one more
Guesty.
reason.
I would also say
yeah,
another great reason to go is that Guesty usually throws a really awesome closing party. So just throwing that out there as well. There's usually
100%.
a lot of dancing.
Yes, I can't wait. I can't wait to shake it. It's going to be shaking it off like Taylor Swift invented the words, you know? So yeah, it's going to be really good. Definitely can't wait to see everyone there. Grab your tickets. The links will be in the show notes. And if you're watching on the live, you can grab the link within our LinkedIn page and YouTube as well. All right, gang, let's jump in. All things Airbnb this week. Golden, Brandy, who wants to take it away?
Yeah, I'd love to kick it off first because it's not too often that I'm completely in agreement with Airbnb and will completely back them. But they are getting sued by the state of California for alleged price gouging following the wildfires in January. But guess what? Airbnb doesn't make the prices, so you can go ahead and ball this one up and throw it out. That makes absolutely no sense, California. You clearly know literally nothing about the industry. So Airbnb, I got your back on that one. There's another one that we'll talk about in a second that I don't have your back on. But any thoughts on that to cap it off, Will and Brandy?
Yeah, I think that the pricing, I mean, this is just one of those continuous problems that the industry has where people think that Airbnb is the product, right? But Airbnb is just the service or the marketplace connecting you to the product. And I mean, could you imagine if Airbnb had decided like, oh, actually you can't raise anything above like $100 a night or whatever, some sort of, and then and there's an extenuating circumstance, there's obviously this huge crisis and you don't want people getting taken advantage of, but then there's, what if they just did that blanket across whatever city if they thought things were getting too out of hand? So there's reasons why they couldn't just do that.
Yeah, but I was going to say that's also kind of Airbnb. This is on Airbnb, not for the price gouging piece, but this is on Airbnb for making themselves the Kleenex of the industry, right? Where they become everything and they are like, we are Airbnb, we're Airbnb, or I'm an Airbnb host, I'm an Airbnb host. Everyone thinks, oh, how are you competing against Airbnb when you tell them that? They're like, what are you talking about? I'm on their platform. I'm not competing against them. So there are a lot of people, I think, that are very confused on the difference between a host and Airbnb itself.
Yeah.
And that is on Airbnb. That is on them as a marketing machine. They created that message.
That's a great take. That said, a lawyer in a courtroom is going to be like, that's not our business.
100%.
Crash it.
100%. Legally, it's nothing. But just from a society,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, I get that take for sure. Let's go to somebody. Somebody has to be responsible for these fires, and it's going to be Airbnb. Now, also in the Skift article, which I won't take Airbnb's back on, Airbnb fell short of actually verifying verified properties on Airbnb. The state is alleging 2,000 to 3,000 properties. Oh, sorry, wrong section. Verified hosts are basically stating the wrong property. They don't even own the property. It's at the wrong address. It's miles away. It could even be in a different city. And so California gave a number of examples of these in the lawsuit. And it's just simply, it's not a good look for the industry. If you're saying these are verified homes, you can trust us, and that person doesn't exist, that property doesn't exist, or it's in a town miles away, or it's 3 streets over. I mean, we all know that in a city, things can change from safe to unsafe in blocks. Yeah. So that they are responsible for. I do not have your back on that, Airbnb.
I will say that one of the big numbers in this article, though, is that Airbnb.org, which is their nonprofit arm, supplied nearly 24,000 people with free emergency housing. And as a host, you like opt in to doing that. So they did help a lot of people in a time of need. I would say that my personal opinion is that maybe out of all of the different entities or companies that could have played a role in this tragedy, I don't know if coming after Airbnb, it might just be the low-hanging fruit because it's so public. But I don't know if this was the right call. But Airbnb is good at anything. It is taking a negative PR moment and spinning it to their advantage somehow. Because look, we're talking about it. So,
Yeah. I would say, though, too, I would love to see the other side of small businesses or big ones and hotels during the time of the Palisade fires, because I would love to see more than just obvious Airbnb hosts increasing price. Because I guarantee you there's some small business owner, there's some small boutique hotel owner that did the same thing. And as much as I hate to say it, you can't just pick one enemy to be the end all be all enemy for price gouging. If you're going to call out one corporation or entity, you're going to call out all of them, because there's tons that did it. I guarantee it. I don't have to even look right now to know that there's people that price gouged. So
then the flip side is how many people, I mean, Airbnb.org offered 24,000 people housing. These are individual hosts that are actually offering it. Airbnb is not offering it. They don't own any properties. They're just the conduit to connect someone who is generously giving up their property for someone else to stay in. So that's an important distinction. Airbnb did contribute cash and donations for it. So I'm not taking away from them by any stretch of the imagination. But there are good stories from the industry bringing and those articles or those stories don't get brought to the public quite like they should, especially when California is just trying to drag Airbnb's name through the mud here. It's really the hosts that are stepping up and really helping their local communities, and kudos for that.
Yeah, 100%. Way to round it off there, Michael. And it looks like we got a comment in. Good morning. I had a horrible experience with Airbnb. This was right at the beginning of when COVID pandemic, and of course, shocker. The platform that controls everything. Anyways, sorry, not to go down that rabbit hole. But yes, if you're tuning in live, comment on where you are tuning in from. We'd love to have our live viewers showcased on the show. But are we moving on to the next
another Airbnb topic?
Yeah, another one.
But this one is very of the moment, because we haven't said the magic words yet on the show.
Here we go.
It's an AI story. But yeah, skip talking about what if Airbnb builds the best travel app. And off camera, we were talking about how, Marriott Homes and Villas has really been leading. I mean, they were the first ones out the gate in our industry to, have an AI search tool. And it seems like Airbnb bought Game Planner AI to do just this kind of things. And, in comparison to Marriott, like Airbnb does already have this app that a lot of people interface with. So even though Airbnb is maybe like the second player in our space to this game, they have a lot of the structure to maybe take the lead.
Yeah, it's not often that Airbnb is not the first mover, whereas Marriott Homes and Villas announced this at the end of last year, beginning of this year. So it's, I don't know. Instead of checking boxes of I want a beachfront property with a hot tub and a pool, I just have to type it out. So I still think there's going to be an immense amount of AI in Airbnb's platform. I mean, they spent a boatload of money on it. And to Brandy's point, they have a ton of data on travelers, traveler behavior, properties, etc., that they will be able to incorporate over time. But they're probably just in the gathering phase now. And this is just quite frankly, a light lift to put an LLM into their search function.
Yeah. I was going to say, I don't think we're the ones to see Airbnb, at least when it comes to mainstream fads or trends like AI. They're not the ones to move super fast on it. They're not the ones to move first, as you made the point, Brandy. Like, yeah, Marriott Homes and Villas had this pretty much done a year or two ago, where this is just an enhancement of basically adding ChatGPT to search, where Michael was saying you're not checking boxes, you're just typing out the words and the vibes that you want for your vacation, which I could see. But I would be curious on, the questions that come out from this as a host is, how's this going to impact my ranking, my searchability? I want to know just how the game is going to change in terms of Airbnb bringing eyeballs to my unit or my home, rather than obviously like having the AI features, which again is going to be great, I'm sure, and it's going to be in a learning adaptation over time for the traveler. But yeah, I'd be curious, like, okay, you're going to make these changes. What's going to happen to me? What's going to happen to my property? What's going to happen to my inventory? That's the main concern, right?
Yeah, well, I think it's very similar to all of the new shifts from like, is my page optimized for Google search? And now is my website optimized for these large language models? And how do you have to alter your content or your photos or whatever to capture that attention? And it's the same thing on a smaller scale here, especially when Airbnb has consistently made your listing titles have to be more generic. Then it's like, okay, what keywords, and not even keywords, like descriptors. Like if you're supposed to be putting in, like, if you're like, hey, I want like chill desert vibes and like, what should you be putting in your listing description to let the model know that your place has chill desert vibes,
Yeah.
And so
yeah.
I was going to ask y'all a question, just thinking about how I would go about a search. I like the filters tab because maybe I'm not thinking of things that I do want, right? Like, yeah, a hot tub would be great if I'm going up into the mountains. Maybe that's something I think of first, but does it have a crib? Does it have this, that, the other? I'm not going to sit there and type in the LLM, I want a 4-bedroom, 2-story, master on the main house with this, and this. I'm not going to think of all that. I'm just going to search it and then like kind of filter from there. Am I off base in saying I'd rather just check a couple boxes on filters than like think of all the things that I think I want?
Yeah, it's this is where you come up with those friction points with the new technology, right? Because the old way of just clicking on filters seems to be faster and more efficient, but maybe we just haven't really learned how to prompt appropriately yet. Like, but yeah, that's also kind of, I understand where these OTAs are trying to first like implement AI because you have to at this point, like to continue relevance, but also this might not be the best function of AI. It was just kind of something that was an easy, not necessarily easy. I have no idea how difficult this was, but like this was a first mover option of like, hey, this is how we can get AI into the platform in a way that's not a chatbot. And that I've said this before, but I really maintain that the power of AI on these systems is not going to be customer facing. It will be all of the back end, like how the actual technology of building out these websites of, unfortunately for some hosts, like it'll probably come in the form of like license and permitting, verification. Hopefully it will come to this location verification so you don't have the California issue. But I don't think it's going to, the real impact will be in this kind of search, at least at this point.
Well, right now we live in a time where data is more valuable than oil. Like the more data you gather, and if someone's typing in exactly what they're thinking, now they know how to better their site to capture those users in the future. And for that person, now they've got you pixeled and they know you've searched the platform 6 times. 5 out of those 6 times you were a solo traveler looking for a property that's under $200 in random parts of the world. Great, let's surface new markets for that person. Or this is a family traveler who's always with 4 people. Their children are ages this and this, and a year later, now they know their children's are ages this and this. And so I would argue it's probably more about data than anything at this point, because the user experience, I would argue, is worse if I'm typing in an LLM on a search than just searching by filters at this point.
So that can be your small little bit of protest is I'm not going to give you my data. I'm going to use the filters.
Stick with the filters. You still are capturing my data, but you're not inside of my mind on what am I thinking when I'm searching for something.
Exactly.
And just as a side rant, prompting an AI search is not true thinking. It's just learning how to prompt better. So you're not thinking, it's not seeing inside of your mind because you're not thinking for yourself. You're just giving it words. So think for yourself, people. That's my one thing. Start questioning the system. Anyways, not to go on a tangent there, but I also really like this note from Paul, who says, quick tip for listeners, ChatGPT is using Google's index for results. So keep optimizing for Google and SEO best practices.
Oh, thanks, Paul. That's been a big question.
Yeah, at the end of the day, they're still using traditional search to index. So until they can't or don't want to do that anymore, that's when things will change, I'm sure. So thank you, Paul. All right. Yeah, there's a lot to go into Airbnb and search, but I'm curious if you guys think that AI, because like this other article that came out with kind of in tangent with the price gouging piece, is the indie hotels market is using new, I guess, revenue management software with AI in it, giving them a competitive edge against the big brands like Hilton, Marriott, etc. But there's an article that says of only about 94% of indie hotels wasn't using dynamic pricing or AI smart pricing tools. So I would love to see one. I think that probably is an inaccurate number. I don't think that many hotels on the indie side are not using AI or smart pricing tools, but I want to see if you guys think that the indie market is more open to this tech change rather than a more mainstream market like big brands or even big property managers.
Yeah, I would say, tying it back to the Airbnb price gouging thing, my guess is a lot of those prices went up because pricing tools were automated, and okay, now there's a supply dip and a demand increase. Let's raise rates. So I'm curious how many not using Airbnb's pricing tool, because Airbnb did say they shut that off. But how many people were using Beyond or Price Labs or Wheelhouse, and prices just went up because that's what the machine told them. But that's okay. That's what the machine is supposed to do. But you can go in and change them yourself. Tying it into indie hotels, I think, yes, a lot of older boutique hotels, indie hotels, still run things more manually than city center big box properties. They have less resources, less staff, less experience in some cases, but they also might have a bias that they know their property better, they know their market better than a machine. And in some cases they might be right, because a lot of indie hotels are one of one. Comp sets are very hard. Like how do you pull together a comp set for a property that is priced, that should be priced twice as high, and there's nothing even remotely similar in a 20-mile radius? Brutal, right? It's hard. You can look at reports from similar properties in other markets and kind of correlate that with market occupancies in your region or your area. But at the end of the day, it's kind of, finger to the wind. Let's see what works. And there's natural things in pricing tools or algorithms that will make sense. As you get closer to check-in date, raise lower. As occupancies go up, down, raise lower. But at the end of the day, unless you have a great comp set, it is going to be tough to use a great tool.
Yeah, I was just surprised because I thought that they would use these systems not necessarily for the comp sets, but to set up more detailed and intricate pricing strategy so that it wouldn't have to be so manual. Like even if you don't have the comp set, you can still set your own parameters and have, if you have a limited staff, you can do the work of more people with automation. So I found that to be really surprising. And I did just love that the main photo for this article is Saratoga Arms Hotel. I've been seeing Saratoga a lot in the hospitality news recently. And I just love that, like, hometown shout out. It's always good to see.
Saratoga love, baby. Mm-hmm. Well, very interesting range of topics this morning. A lot of Airbnb, as always. They seem to not be able to keep themselves out of the news, but
they do give us content. I'll give them
100%, 100%. I love it. But interesting stuff, a lot of stuff to keep an eye out. And of course, like always, shout out to our live viewers. We thank you, Paul Manzi, Alex Gillen, and of course, Steve Turk. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. And yeah, anything upcoming for you guys this week that we should be looking out for, tuning in? You guys, anything you're excited about? Anything? Come on.
I'm going up north, so I'll finally get a reprieve. Although apparently it's also really hot up there too. So
yeah, there's some exciting things happening. More to come this week.
Yeah, more to come.
Something's coming.
Oh my gosh. What could it be? I love it. Well, thank you both. You too. It's always great to see you on Monday mornings. And just a shout out to Keegan and the Guesty team. I love our Waking Up with Guesty segment now. So thanks for being a part of the show. And like always, like and subscribe to Everything Good Morning Hospitality. We'll see you guys on the next one.